Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here as always with my co-host Liam McNeil. But Liam, 2 wins in a row. Can you believe it?
Nagy, I can believe it. I can believe it. And, I can feel it as well as believing it. I can feel it right into my bones. The positivity and the happiness that's worked its way through the city, I can experience it all.
Doesn't it make a big difference? Like, I know we were looking at 5 losses in a row, but we were on the bottom of the ladder. On the bottom. Touching the bottom.
Touching the bottom.
and then now, 2 wins later. 2 very solid wins, mind you, but 2 wins later. And now we're sitting 10th, I believe.
And in the discussion for the 8 already. And the season looks salvageable. I know there was a lot of knives came out earlier in the year, and a lot of things were said by some people who I think will remain nameless.
It's Kelly Wilson. Kelly Wilson wanted Kelly Wilson, good friend of the show, wanted Nathan Brown sacked.
He wanted Brownie gone, but I think those the critics have dried up a bit after 2 strong wins, and it looks like the team's in good shape to move forward and take our place back in the 8 that we haven't had in a long time.
I think it's important to remember these times when it looked like it was going to be dire and everyone was talking about obviously sacking Brownie. Imagine if they did sack Brownie. Can we just say if they sacked Brownie, they brought in Craig Fitzgibbon. He was one of the names mentioned. If they brought them in and then we ended up hitting this 2-game form streak anyway, everyone would have said, well, it must have been Brownie. It must have been something that he was doing incorrectly before the game. We've talked about giving all the players a rehypnol at halftime.
Rehypnol. I think we mentioned. What was the other one? Yeah, it was rehypnol. Yeah.
Reading them lullabies before, while they're in the shed. So no, there's nothing. Obviously, it just took this team. It just took some time to gel.
And boy, haven't they gelled? They looked excellent on the weekend, and it really looked like a team that now knows how to play with each other, knows who is playing in what style, and how each piece fits into the puzzle. Yeah. It looked a very complete performance from the Knights.
Barry too on the show last week reminded us that there's been only 1 win of the last 12 years or something like that.
1 in 13.
One win in
13 years over the ditch.
So it was obviously very hard for us to win over there. And well, didn't we do a bloody good effort of it?
It was a very convincing. Convincing is maybe the wrong word because it wasn't a thrashing, but it was a win that the Knights kind of had from the start.
Well,
the way they started.
I thought they started very well.
They started very well, and that inspired a lot of confidence in me. Just from the way they started, I thought, hang on. This seems not assured, but I was kind of confident the whole game. Yeah,
they definitely looked good with Mitchell Pearce scoring in the 5th minute. And you thought, hang on here. And they took a lot of shots at penalty. I think they ended up taking 3 shots at penalty and getting every one of them. But it was ended up being 5 tries to 3. I thought they didn't really hit their marks until about the 54th minute. I feel like when Sione scored. That was a real point of balance for me, because if Sione doesn't score that try and we look like our attack that set just went to nothing. But he did manage to get over, and then all of a sudden, then we find ourselves over again with Heimel Hunt, and then again with Ponga to finish. But up until that point, I think there was probably about a half an hour gap that we hadn't scored a try, and we thought, oh, great, have we just scored all their points, and then they're going to run us down and be disappointed again?
That was one thing I was concerned about. As much as I just told you I was assured of the victory, during that period, I was a bit concerned that the Warriors might come back a bit more than they did. But boy, isn't Mitchell Pearce back in some kind of way? He controlled the game beautifully. Yeah. He obviously scored the first try, as you mentioned, and he kept the Warriors back 3 out of the game with his kicking game, because we all know how good the Warriors back 3 are at starting off their sets and making big yards and really getting their forward pack rolling. But Mitchell Pearce's kicking game, and a little bit from Kalen Ponga as well, just plugging the sidelines, keeping the ball out of play, kept their back 3 out of play. And I don't think the Warriors were ever really able to start the way they used to and the way they usually would.
They came back in the second half. Around the 45th minute, they had some really huge damaging runs up the middle, and I thought they did this to us. I think 2016, 17, and we had the lead on them, and then they just thought, these guys are nothing, and they just blew us out of the water down the middle.
Well, the Warriors game last year was boys against men. The Warriors just dominated, absolutely dominated, and it's a similar forward pack to what they had last year. So I think it was a good effort from the Knights to nullify that. And wasn't Denny Levi incredible?
Well,
he's had another great game.
SKD as well. SKD playing another great game. But where we seemed to win it was in the completion rates, as you talked about the game management from Pearce, not just doing moments of brilliance like scoring the first try and setting Ponga up for the last try, but the game management of keeping it at 91%. Completion rates.
100% in the first half.
That's insane, isn't it?
That's remarkable.
It's because sometimes you see 100% in the first half, and then the second half that it falls away. And they had about the same. I think they were 15 from 15 in the first, and they ended up finishing 29 from 31. That's pretty darn good.
It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Only 4 errors as well.
There's not many teams that lose a game with that kind of completion rate, and I think that bodes very well for the Knights.
It just shows that we're playing good football. Sometimes teams can win playing pretty crappy football and just by having just some really moments of brilliance. But no, we looked all over them by the end of it. It was just... And I thought, Jesus, we're nearly at 40 points here. Like, and I know we got the 3 penalty goals, so it was only the 5 tries, but it was suddenly like we're getting into the thrashing territory.
I wonder when was the last time the Knights scored 40 points.
Can anyone remember? Please message in if you can remember the last time the Knights scored 40 points. I reckon Daniel Turner might be able to remember, or maybe even Sean Lazenby.
Yeah, a couple of our diehards might be able to remember, because we certainly can't.
We can't at all.
We had no chance. But the other thing I thought the Knights did really well was they played the transitions very well. So they turned defence into attack, which that's a lot of talk around the transitions these days. What the good teams do is when they force a turnover, when they force an error with their defence, they're immediately on the attack. And I definitely got that feeling from the Knights. Every time the Warriors put the ball down or made a poor last tackle option, the Knights were straight on the attack. Oops.
There was some really great singular efforts from like Sione Mitautia in defence. I thought he came up quite a few times in the right moments. I think there was a lot of people that played really well. But we actually don't really judge the best player for the hats off anymore. We put it to you, the people. And who did the people vote in this week?
Look, the people voted in, I wouldn't say a landslide, but almost landslide territory. Mitchell Pearce. He got 80% of the Facebook vote, 75% of the Twitter vote. He scored 1 try, had 2 try assists, 2 tackle busts, a line break, and 2 line break assists. I think he had a hand in 4 of Newcastle's 5 tries. He was just incredible. And I think a lot of his improvement in the last 2 games has come from him straightening up his running game.
Yes.
Earlier in the year with the attacking structure the Knights were running and very much the Ponga-focused attack, a lot of it was going sideways and trying to find a gap running sideways, which is very hard to do if you're not winning the middle. But Pearce has really straightened up his running game and his attack, and the whole of the attacking... the whole attack from the Knights just straightened it off of him, and that's been one of the big changes.
We looked good coming off Pearce. Pearce looks confident and he looks aggressive, and he seems to be off that aggression, making better decisions. Not by no means a perfect game, but those stats there and the way you saw him control and taking, as you're saying, like taking out the back 3 by kicking to the sideline and keeping it out of JDS's hands. RTS.
Yes.
JDS is
his younger brother. Jonathan Tuivasa.
Jonathan Tuivasa-Sheck. So it just manages to really turn the game over 80 minutes, and that's why he's worth $1 million a season. That's why he's worth $1 million a season. I'm saying he's just paid for himself.
He's paid for himself, absolutely. Now, we did have a second option in the hats off, and I think he deserves a mention as well. SKD. He was unbelievable. 187 metres, a try, 5 tackle busts. His work got the Knights on the front foot often, and from hard runs.
Yeah.
And that try was a beauty. It was just him, competing for the ball harder. And it was something Mitchell Pearce said on Big League Rap last night, was that he's playing at his best when he's competing for every scrap of ball. And I think that really rubbed off on the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And you saw a few of the tries and a few turnovers and a few Warriors errors. The Knights were able to get the ball back just by competing and wanting the ball more.
There was a couple of moments in that, both coming the 2 tries of kicks, Edric Lee to Heimel Hunt to score the try, kicking to the giant that is Edric Lee, and SKD's running through and contesting with the ball sort of over his shoulder. It was
an impressive catch.
And it was someone mentioned on Facebook it's the first time this year looks like we're actually kicking to our tall men. But it also looked like nice place kicks from Mitchell Pearce, but people were moving under them. People were, our attack was coming in a line. There's been times where I think the ball might go a bit shallow, a bit high, and it's more of a bomb than it is a placed kick. And everyone, you might have 2 or 3 Knights, and they all just sort of run under there and go and just wait and look up, and you think, we don't look dangerous here. And then if someone catches the ball, they just get piled on. But it was sort of this. It was catching in motion. Edric Lee was in the air for what seemed to be about 4 days. He might still be up there.
He's got some hang time, doesn't he?
Has he come down yet?
I think he looked like one of those hang gliders off Strzelecki there that you see.
That just sit.
Yeah.
Sit up there. Yeah. There's and SKD obviously did it on the fly. But there was another try, the Sione try that I thought that really turned the game around. Nothing was happening. It looked like our attackers just went out flat, and we were just dancing around, going left and right. And Mitchell Pearce went out, and we had no runners. No one wanted to run the ball, and I thought, this isn't looking good. This is what keeps happening. And then Herman Esse,
the man so nice.
They named him Herman. Beautiful name. And he came back the other way, and he was skipping around, and then you watch Sione Matautia take off and just give him an option. And then as soon as he starts, legs start pumping and going through the line, ball's popped, and then he just makes the right decision in front of him. But take Sione out of that, and then, that's another 5 tackle set inside their 20 that we do nothing.
Well, that was the theme of the day. It was players pushing up around the ball. The Ponga try was the same. He was sniffing around Danny Levi and around the ruck, and Danny Levi getting in behind the markers. If players are pushing up around him in support, then the options are there, which the Knights didn't have for kind of that first 6 weeks. There wasn't people pushing up around the ball.
Beautiful,
which they call it.
Beautiful inside ball that Ponga goes in untouched. And my God, I got a little bit worried that Ponga, firstly, when he had that ankle injury last year, hamstring injury as well, that I thought, have we taken a bit of pace off him? Is he just not the same explosive 19-year-old that he once was? Being at the ripe old age of 21 or whatever he is, and then but then the speed he just decided to flick on the afterburners and absolutely burn RTS.
He burned Roger Tuivasa-Sheck like an unwanted book.
He just threw him away.
Threw him on the pile, doused him in petrol, and just lit him up.
Hitler did that.
He did. He's a bad egg. I don't care what anyone says about him. He's a bad egg.
Kalen Ponga?
No, Hitler.
Hitler, right? But that shows the kind of game that I think we thought when we thought Ponga Pearce at the beginning of the season. We thought inside ball to Ponga. Ponga bursts through and burns the fullback. And there was lots of people that really thought Connor Watson had a good game with the new hooker rotation with Kurt Mann. Now, there was a bit of chopping and changing there that I thought we probably didn't get the best football out of us when Kurt Mann came in, and then he was playing centre, and then he got moved into the 5'8" role. And I think there's a lot of change going on there, and I think Brown is just trying things.
Which is good to see that we're winning while he's trying things, though, because often, these trials and these positional switches can really detriment the team. Yeah. But if you can keep winning games around that, then by the time you get into later in the season, when these players who are being moved around have found their spot, you've built a really good bedrock. But I think it was Graham Hughes who said it on Talking Sport on Monday night. I think that was Connor Watson's best game in a while. I thought he was really good.
I think he's very instinctual, obviously, Connor, and he's so quick. And as Barry said last week, that was it fast feet, slow mind is what. Yes. And he didn't use those fast feet. It just. He asked questions of a defensive line, and I think, is it his best position? I don't know, but I don't think Kurt Mann's a better 5'8" than him.
Yeah, I feel like as 5'8", they're a bit much of a muchness, but Connor just has the edge with that extra burst of speed that he's got and that extra strength he's got to bust tackles.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be him in the 6 and Mann in the 14 going forward. It seems like that's what Brownie settled on.
Yeah,
and I'm happy with it. I think it could prove to be a very, very good combination.
Also, David Klemmer and Dan Safidi putting a good platform down, and you can really tell with Mitchell Pearce only making, I think, 12 tackles, which is about half of what he's been making the last few games. So you can see, if you can imagine, if you're making 12 tackles rather than 24, and your body getting hit, getting knocked down, and yes, he's a 30-year-old man. The body's probably a bit tired.
So am I, but you don't hear me complaining about it.
Tired all the time, Liam.
And I complain about it every goddamn day.
So if you can imagine getting up and getting down 12 times.
So Mitchell Pearce has every right to complain. Right. I stand by that.
Yes.
But yeah, Daniel Safidi and David Klemmer, my God, what an opening front row partnership. They've been just like the last 2 games. I think it's safe to say without those 2 starting, we might not win those games because they've just got that forward pack rolling so smoothly and, with great intent. And I mean, if you look at David Klemmer, he's currently leading the NRL in run meters with 1,382. Thank you to our stats humans.
Yes.
And yeah, those 2 starting are just eating up the meters.
The two big men up front, I think they're a good combination together, and they're two young forwards for as far as props go, and I think we're onto a winning combination. But
It could be the bedrock of the forward pack for years to come.
But let's look forwards, Liam. Forwards,
Yes.
not back. And this week is Magic Round.
The Magic Round.
Yes, the Magic Round.
The Magic Round.
Now, Liam, I'll just tell everyone what Magic Round is. Now, it's a very special, mystical round where all the games are
played by magicians.
Are played at the one stadium. In top hats, all of them. You have to have 3 sleight of hand tricks.
The South Sydney players will be running out of an oversized hat as they run on the field.
Look, I've got a little bit of a bee in my bonnet about Magic Round, Liam.
Nagy, is this you taking it personally?
Am I taking it personally?
Oh.
Well, no, I don't think I'm that angry about it, but sure, I'll take it personally. What I find really frustrating about Magic Round, and I'll just do that every time I say Magic Round for people listening audio only, I'm doing the air quotation marks. And Magic Round is one of those. It's just been made up by the NRL, right? They could have called it anything, but they decided to call it Magic Round, and they're giving it something like it feels really special. But the only thing special about it is they're playing at the same stadium. Now, if my team was playing at the end of the Saturday, would be the only way that I could sit through 2 previous games to get to the game that I really want to watch, because I love rugby league, but that's a lot of football to watch, and there's only so much of sitting around other team supporters shouting, while you're just quietly trying to have a conversation to the person next to you that you can handle before you just want to get out of there. And it can. I don't understand how the ticketing works, and I don't want to learn. But
all you do is you buy a ticket and you go see games.
But okay, look,
it's like any other game of
Thursday
football.
night, it's not going to be magic because there's one game on that day.
Yeah,
it's the same as everything.
Any day with rugby league is a day of magic.
Okay, Friday night there's 2 games. Saturday there's 3, and then Sunday there's 2. I think that's how it's working.
That sounds right.
Okay, but it just seems like for the majority of people are going to be watching these games at home
on the television.
Anything change for them?
I'd argue it's better because they can have the same commentators through 3 games. It's a bit of consistency.
Surely they wouldn't have the
I'm
same.
reaching, Nagy. I'm really reaching.
There's nothing special about it for the TV audience, and that represents probably 99% of the audience.
What I will say, though, Nagy, this isn't something the NRL has come up with. This is actually based on a Magic Round that they do in the English Super League.
Why is it magic? But okay,
and they've been doing it for a while, and apparently over there it's a big success. I think, and I could be wrong, I think they play at one of the big stadiums, Twickenham or Wembley, maybe. I don't know. It's a different hemisphere. But they've been doing it for a while, and I think it works over there.
Call me crazy.
I'd love to. I often do.
But I thought would be better for a whole round of football is if you didn't play them at any of the big stadiums and you took them out to only regional places.
Well, they already do that, though.
They take one, but if you had the whole thing, it's like
the whole weekend at one regional stadium.
No. You just take them to different regional stadiums. So, there's a game on at Bathurst, and there's a game on in Hobart, and there's a game on in Perth, and there's a game on in Darwin, and they're all in these crazy places that never get rugby league anywhere close to them, and there they get 2 NRL sides. I know that I
love the idea of rugby league in Hobart.
Yeah,
that'd be wonderful. Well, isn't Hobart just an excellent place?
It's lovely. It's
very nice.
Yeah, we both went last year, very close to each other, but we didn't see each other there
separately. We went separately. We went with our partners.
We don't holiday together.
Often.
As soon as these microphones are turned off, I don't speak to you for a week. But okay, so that's Magic Round. Now that's out of my system.
Okay.
I was taking it personally, but we've got the Bulldogs.
We've got the Bulldogs, and they're not in the best of form. They're coming off a loss to Manly, which Manly have actually showed some form recently, so they were playing a bit of a form team. But the Bulldogs are kind of reminiscent of the Knights of maybe 2017, early.
I think they got
2018. More 2017.
I think they got a little bit more talent than we had in 2017.
They do, and they've won a few games. They've got a bit more talent, but very much in the midst of a rebuilding. And I know they've just let go of they're rebuilding the whole club. They've just got rid of, I think, 4 or 5 footballing staff from the offices. So clearly there's a lot going on there, both on the field and behind the scenes. So I think you're seeing a club that is in the doldrums that Newcastle were in about 2 or 3 years ago.
The Nobbies.
But the Nobbies, the Nobby doldrums. But they are, winning the odd game here and there, except not this season because they're running last.
Yeah, but I think they won 2. No, they won 2.
2?
Yeah.
Okay, they've won 2. So that's still more than none. But I think it's a good time to be coming up against the Bulldogs because they're
We've only won one more game than them, really. But
Yeah,
we look like how far we sit like higher than them in the ladder. Isn't that amazing how
It
the
is
ladder
amazing.
works? It's so deceiving, the ladder. But
It's a man-made construct, man. It's
we could see that we're definitely more in form than them. But I think they're still dangerous, and we don't play good against sides that play bad football.
Well, no, remember we played the Bulldogs into form last year when they had even less well-known players. They were expected to be roundly beaten by us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, in the game at home around 19 or something like that.
I think so.
I was there. And left very disappointed. Ponga got injured, and Slade Griffin.
Yes.
Slade
did his knee.
Look, I'm not really expecting anything. If we can go 3 in a row and suddenly we're back, we're one of the informed sides of the comp, then we'll be touching the 8. I think we could smell the 8 from that point, and then. We've after this patch we've got the Saints and then the Roosters and the Storm, but that is starting to come into
tough patch.
Starting to come into Origin period around that time as well. And there's a few key injuries. Storm aren't playing as well as they were 3 weeks ago.
No, the Storm seem to be in a bit of a form slump as well.
Well, they're looking apparently. Old Craig Bellamy's wielding the axe.
Well, yeah, I was going to bring that up more in the news about. Maybe we'll touch on that in the news.
Okay, time for the news.
Oh, time for the news.
Yes, it's. I thought we would just kick onto the news.
Let's just kick onto the news.
Why put it off any longer?
Yeah, why?
So what have we got in the news this week?
Well, actually, before we start now, just let the Knights fans know that Jesse Ramian has not been named in the side. It is the same 17 as last week, but he is on the extended bench in number 21. So we could maybe see a little bit of fiddling around with the top 17. Maybe see Jesse back, hopefully. But I mean, Sione didn't play too badly.
I thought he played well.
He played pretty well. I found there was still some question marks on that right edge defence. The right edge defence just seemed a bit passive. And
that's Heimel Hunt's side? No,
that's the Sione side.
Sione side.
Ramian side. It just seemed a bit passive, and the Warriors got around it once or twice in some worrying circumstances. It's a hard spot to defend, though.
Yeah, very hard spot to defend. I think we saw Jamie Buhrer out last year when he got put in centre.
Did he?
Yeah, only as we've got an injury. Jamie going to centres.
Oh wow, I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, it happened a couple of times. He doesn't defend well out there because I think people that are used to defending in the middle, you got a little bit more flexibility. But the centres, you just can get found out.
Because you got that drop off, right? But between you and the winger, it's like the ocean. It's a chasm.
Yeah, and you need to be confident in each other.
So sorry to skip back a bit there, but now in the news, first of all, we've got Andrew McCulloch has injured his MCL at training, and also Corey Norman has a fractured cheekbone. Now, I've lumped these two stories in together as one because those two were very much in the Origin picture for Queensland. Yeah. And now they've not firmly been ruled out, but they're looking doubtful, dubious at best, which Queensland stocks of players are really, really thinning.
Yeah, I know. This is what I have to say. Well done.
I agree.
Yeah. Well done there.
It's like when people say, wouldn't you rather beat a full-strength Queensland side? I say, no, I wouldn't care if we ran out our best 17 against their under-12s and we beat the hell out of them. I'd be very happy with that.
I'm over it. I used to say I'd be one of those people. I don't care anymore. I just want to see them have as much bad luck as possible, as well as the Broncos. Now, I was talking to Dan Flegg recently, actually, a good friend of the show, and we're talking about how the Broncos just can't really get their act together. And we said,
it's good to see, isn't it?
Isn't it gorgeous?
It's very good. Because growing up for me, the Broncos were just untouchable. They were this squad of superstars who, had 3/4 of the Queensland Origin team every year.
And about half the Australian side.
And any time you'd go up to play the Broncos, that you knew that your team was in for a really rough ride. And if the Broncos were coming to play at your team's home ground, you were probably going to get the 7 shades of hell kicked out of you.
Yes.
And they've still got, it's weird, even though they're playing very poorly, they've still got that aura. They've still got that Broncos aura. And even though they're playing poorly at the moment, they haven't lost that, weirdly enough. But yeah, I agree. Seeing them not fail, but fail is pretty nice.
Let's see them come last. Yeah,
that would be a sight.
Yeah, and obviously there's talking about player revolt. The halfbacks just gone to the Warriors. Zako and James Roberts have both been dropped to reserve grade.
Yep.
I tell you what, look, if I was coaching the Broncos, and maybe I will one day.
Maybe. We can't rule anything out.
Can't rule anything out. I was about to say I'm a young man, but I'm not. I don't know why they wouldn't move Milford back to fullback and they put Boyd in the centres and you put Bird 5'8". That seems like a logical switch.
That does seem like a very logical switch, Nagy, actually. That's very good.
Anthony, give me a call.
Siebes, he listens to the show. Siebes,
He's a
as we call him,
fan.
huge fan. Wonder if he'll be getting the call up for the Queensland Origin team. They're very desperate.
Probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all of that for now. The next item in the news. Now, this came up today, and this is something that NRL media does semi-regularly, and I always find it very funny when they find out that a player is on the NRL's minimum wage, and they always make it like it's this hard luck story. And this week's hard luck story is that Micah Sevo, Parramatta winger, is on minimum wage in the NRL, and he's only earning as much as a brickies labourer. And they always use these really weird, like comparisons of jobs where they say he's only earning as much as a brickies labourer, and I can just imagine all the brickies labourers out there going, "I live a pretty sweet life. What am I Oliver Twist?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Why they're above minimum wage?
Yeah,
I think they're on a decent award.
It just seems like any time the NRL finds out that people don't earn $300,000 a year, they're living in poverty.
Yeah, and
I just find it mind-boggling.
You're telling me this player, travels all the way to a stadium with a group of blokes he probably gets along with, goes to the gym,
gets free gym. He doesn't have to pay for the gym.
Has all these injuries and kinks in his body all fixed by a team of healthcare professionals, and then he goes out into a field and kicks a ball around, and he only gets as much as a full-time wage.
A brickies labourer, of all things. I could not believe it. I love when I see stories like that, because it just seems like people in rugby league, the media and the likes of them, can be just out of touch. It was like when Ben Barber got booted from the Cowboys, and they all were up in arms like, oh, he's a truck driver now. How's he going to survive as a truck driver? I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe the way all the truck drivers survive, the way everyone else, the rest of us survive.
Well, I tell you what, a lot of the media doesn't understand the true people, the real, the people that you pass in the street. Give them a wink.
People at the coalface.
Yeah, that's right. I tell you, who does understand. The people at the Commonwealth Hotel.
They do.
My God, don't they serve just the regular how's it going blokes of Newcastle?
Absolutely. But they'll also serve Newcastle's hoi polloi and the fancy beer.
But you rub shoulders with them on the same level.
It's a very welcoming place. Everyone's welcome there at the Comedy.
Kids,
Brickies labourers.
Brickie labourers, truck drivers. Not Ben Barber, though.
Not Ben Barber. No. Ben
He's
Barber does not attend the Commonwealth Hotel.
You will not
Cannot
see
stress
there.
that strongly enough.
Well, anything else in the news? Lee?
Yes, next in the news, we got a young gun from the Knights. Beau Fermor has been picked for the Canterbury Cup New South Wales residents team. Now,
that's nice.
Beau's got a good rap on him. He's a hard-running second rower coming up through the ranks. He, I think, signed from the Melbourne system last year. And, so he's been picked in the New South Wales resident side, despite the fact that I'm fairly certain his state of origin loyalty is with Queensland. You don't have to...
You
don't have to...
because it's New South Wales Canterbury Cup.
It's residents. It's just residents. Like there's a great picture of Jonathan Thurston wearing all the sky blue in his early years when he was picked in that very same team. So all you Knights fans getting excited that Beau Fermor might be a New South Wales origin prospect. He's a Queenslander. Sorry, guys.
Also, Brock Lamb selected in that side, I saw.
He was too. Brock Lamb selected from the North Sydney Bears, which is interesting because I thought he was in poor form. But
a lot of people might have forgotten about Brock Lamb, but that's where he is. And he said, look, apparently he's doing well enough to
playing for the mighty Bears.
Yeah, but he wasn't. There was another Lamb. It's Adrian Lamb.
Lachlan Lamb.
Lamb.
Adrian Lamb's son.
Who would have thought it?
They've got no B on the end. It's a different Lamb.
Right.
That's how you tell.
That's how you see. Okay.
Remember the furore around when Adrian Lamb was selected for State of Origin? Oh,
I don't think I can remember. I think it was before my time.
All right, just for the... No, it wasn't before your time because it was right around my time when I was a fan. For the listeners out there who don't remember, he'd been selected for Papua New Guinea earlier, I think, in that same year, and then was selected for Queensland. And that was kind of the original, it's a Tier 2 nation. Does he play for Queensland or does he play for Papua New Guinea? And he got in illegally, and I think he led them to a series win. I don't remember that.
Okay.
But that was one of the earliest Origin contentions that I can remember. It was the first time I remember being angry at television.
Well, I can remember when I was angry at television for 2002 when Alan Langer came back.
Yeah.
But they just got him from Super League.
Yeah, they brought him back from England.
Pretty much not done these days at all. It's like it's just like, but they just allowed that. Ever got anything else with it?
We do, yeah. Cody Nikorima, as we mentioned, is set to switch immediately from the Brisbane to the Warriors. It's a very strange time to make a switch. I don't understand why it's happening now. Or
I don't understand why Broncos let him go.
I don't understand why the Broncos let him go. They quite need him.
If the team's out of form, surely they want as many options as they can in the halves.
Especially test players.
And especially someone that can kick a ball. Like, I know, obviously you've got Anthony Milford there, but he just doesn't seem like he needs help.
Well, they've got the young Tom Dearden coming through. Who's apparently got some big raps on him from the Q Cup, but that's all I know about the fella. Could be a wonderful player, maybe not.
Yeah.
You just something to touch on as well. What you mentioned earlier, Craig Bellamy. Now, he had an interesting blow up that we don't often see from coaches, where he used a hefty amount of truth in saying that he doesn't think his team has got what it takes to win these gritty games like against the Sharks that they lost on the weekend. And if his team don't find it, he'll be picking new players. Now, coaches never say that in press conferences.
Master stroke from Bellamy. I tell you what, he just knows how to get the best out of his players. And I feel like I think everyone in that team, he might not have the depth that he once did, as far as but he's still got such a good side, and I think you'll probably see the Storm coming out next week and playing very good football.
Yeah, you want to talk about a firecracker up the arse from a coach? I've never seen one like it.
And he was like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
Which is so much worse.
It's like,
so much worse.
It's like, you wish you didn't break the vase, and then it's mum's not angry. And you're like, just yell at me, mum. I prefer if you just yelled at me so I could go and cry. But instead, you've just given me that look. I told you once before that my mother gave me that look when I was pushing the shopping trolley, and she'd stopped, and I hit the shopping trolley into the back of her ankle. And she just gave me that look and just said, I don't want you to be my son anymore.
Well, you shouldn't have done that to Morty.
Never seen her again.
Well, you shouldn't have done it. I understand where Morty was coming from with that one. Now, what came back this week, Nagy?
It was a very exciting week because I know there's been something that we haven't had, and we've welcomed it back this week, and it's time to open your sack, Liam.
Yes!
Oof.
The sack is back, ladies and gentlemen.
I can smell it.
Oh, yeah, well,
it's been
collecting dust for a while. First question on the sack from Justin Guion. Are we finally seeing the team click in the way we were hoping they would last year before the injuries at different stages of the season and the Ponga 5/8 experiment this year, now that they've settled into a rhythm?
Yeah, look, I think it was, like I said before, it was just like what you wanted to see out of Ponga and Pearce. You wanted to see that, and I feel like, that experiment's just going to be... like what it is just going to be known as the Ponga experiment. I think maybe you might find him if they have like another Maori side. They might be like, let's try him at 5/8 again. But I don't think the Knights have enough to risk it. Would you agree? I
think it's going to be like MK Ultra from the 60s, and the CIA were mind control testing various US citizens with drugs, but it was all kept very secret and never spoken about again. I don't think we'll speak about it again. Thanks for bringing it up, Justin. I was hoping we'd never talk about that again. Also, Justin would like to know what a certain Channel 9 celebrity's up to.
I'm very glad he asked, because Daryl Summers is returning to 9.
Daryl Summers coming back to Channel 9.
Daryl Summers from Hey Hey It's Saturday. Yeah. Well, he's coming back to Channel 9.
And what's Daryl Summers doing on Channel 9 this year?
Well, before he had, he was touring with Australians percussionists.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, well, he's that went so well that he's now looking for the next Australian guitarist.
Really? The next big thing in guitar.
It's plucking. It's so so you think he can dance, but it was so you think he can play. But with Daryl Summers playing live, wielding the axe.
So he's playing. He's not just judging.
He'll be playing. He's like the mentor for the whole group. You wouldn't believe what they called it.
What are they calling it?
Summers Strummers.
Summers Strummers.
Wow.
Yeah. Daryl's back 7:30 Thursdays.
7:30 Thursdays. Can't wait. Thanks very much, Justin.
Thank you very much, Justin. Gavin Morton, good friend of the show, asks, who will be the Blues Origin halves?
Look, it's a great question, Gav.
Very, very good question.
And I have to say, I'm probably going to think it's ready for it. I think Mitchell Pearce is probably looking like going to take out the 7. And I think they'll probably try to do it because they like putting people that have been together before, having some sort of playing relationship. And it makes sense with Luke Keary and Mitchell Pearce, who played together in 2017, I think.
Yes.
So that's my vote.
They did. I remember watching a game of theirs from the hospital, I believe.
Yeah.
I have to disagree with you,
That's
Nagy.
fine.
I'm with you 50% of the way. I'm with you halfway with Luke Keary there.
Sure.
But I think it'll be Luke Keary and Cody Walker. Now, Cody Walker...
They're 2 5/8s, aren't they?
Well, Luke Keary has shown that he can play 7 with the best of them. When Cooper Cronk went down and Cooper Cronk was out...
Basically the same position
It's basically the same position these days. Luke Keary can play that real organising, structured halfback position where he kind of will orchestrate what's happening with the team, and he'll make sure the team's sticking to a game plan, and then you just let Cody Walker play off the back of it. And especially in Origin, being an attritional game, I think Cody Walker's just liveliness and his natural footballing prowess will really come to the fore. So for me personally, I'd love to see Keary and Cody Walker.
I think that'd be great.
But
yeah.
Keary and Mitchell Pearce would be wonderful as well. I think I'd be very happy with that.
Just to the structure, just give him to the fifth, get a kicking game.
I'd rather Pearce didn't though, just because I want him at the Knights.
I don't want him to go. No,
don't leave us, Mitchell.
It's not what I want, is what I think.
A very good point, Nagy. Those two things are very different.
Yeah.
Next, pardon me.
It's the vapors.
I got the vapors. That was such a good question. I got the vapors. Now, Alex Honan asks, who's our preference for 5'8"? Is it Mann or Watson? Personally, Alex thinks that Watson is a utility 14, giving Levi a break or gap fill any injuries, whereas Mann seems to be the better ball player where Watson is a runner. Thoughts?
It looked like there was one stage where Pearce got the extremely good pass out from the right wing. It went to Watson at first receiver, and he just fired a bullet to Mitchell Pearce and got that kick off really quick, and it ended up in Edric Lee's hands to Heimel Hunt to score. And I thought that looked good, but I'm not sure if they could do that again and again. I think Mann, I think he breaks a decent tackle now and then, but he sort of does that standing still, bit of a gag eye sort of a break. He just sort of manages to shrug them off forwards, and then I don't think he's got too many answers after that, unless he's passing it to someone who does have the answers. I think Connor Watson will put himself in the right position. It's just making sure that he has makes that last pass or catches that last ball.
You know what else put you in the right position, Nagy?
What?
Cannon Murray's 262.
262.
Nova Castria Brew.
I'm not sure if it's the official slogan, but 262 will put you in the right position.
It'll put you in the right position.
Because God knows sometimes I've found myself in the wrong position, Liam.
And a can of this got you right out.
We'll fix you right up.
Dug you out of that hole you were in, didn't it, Nagy?
It sure did. It always does.
But yeah, no, look, I agree with Watson going forward, I think, as 5'8", and Mann playing that 14 utility role. But I think you could switch either of them in and out, and they do play a fairly similar game. I think you could very easily switch the two out and have similar results.
Yeah, I am liking what I'm getting from the spine, though, at the moment. I think Levi's adding something during the game. I think Connor's adding something. It's good to have Mann there. Whether they're both playing I don't like to swap them out too much, but they both offer something, which I think is important.
And the last question for the week from Daniel Snedden. Who should we be looking... Oh, I will say Kelly Wilson asked us a question. It was for name our best 17.
No, we don't.
That's a played out question.
Sorry, you've been suspended for at least 3 weeks, Kelly.
It's too easy of a question.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel Snedden asked, who should we be looking for as our next recruit? That's an interesting one.
It is an interesting question because it seems like we had a full recruiting in the right time that we did it in the off season. It seems like that's when you do all your recruiting to get the most out of your players because they can have a bit of an off season together. Look, I don't see in a particular area that I think we're a bit thin. I think possibly, SKD's a bit long in the tooth. We'll probably be looking for a new winger. Heimel Hunt, we sort of manufactured into a centre, and then, but we've got Tau there, we've got Sione there, so maybe we don't need another centre. I'm not really sure.
I've got to agree with you in terms of the wingers. I think we can maybe use just one more good winger for depth, but I haven't had a look at the contract sheets or anything to know who's on and off contract, but maybe one more winger just wouldn't hurt. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
They surely were looking around for hookers when Danny Levi wasn't playing well, and Barry said they were shopping him around, so they would have had to add their eye out for hookers, but I just don't think there is any around. And let alone like James Seguiara obviously didn't want to come to Newcastle.
He won't leave Sydney.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, why? There must be something up there.
Well, there's something wrong with him if he doesn't want to leave Sydney for Newcastle.
That's obvious.
There's something very wrong in his noggin. But Newcastle's the greatest city on goddamn earth.
He's still not playing first grade, is he?
No, he's playing for the Newtown Jets on a contract for $1 a season.
What is going on in this world?
They were cheating the salary cap.
Obviously.
That was their go-around.
That's what's happened.
We'll sign him for $1.
It's quite clear.
Yeah.
Liam, how's the reserve grade? There's some huge things that happened in the lower grade.
Well, I forgot to get the scores for the reserve grade. But the Harold Matts, big congratulations to the Harold Matthews side, which have taken out the premiership
huge
for 2019, and condolences to the Tarsha Gale Cup side. They got beaten by the Illawarra Steelers, unfortunately.
Let's just give a big round of applause to both of those. That was amazing.
That's very, very good.
Everyone in the audience.
Everyone around. Come on. Good. Excellent. Good.
We have a live audience here. Did we not tell you we have a live audience? We have 94 seats in here.
We couldn't fit the 100. We really wanted the 100, but we just couldn't fit it. It was just unreasonable.
Oh, gee, another week, Liam. If you like us, guys, please find us on Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter,
Instagram.
all those social pipes. We've got a very special guest coming next week. I'm very excited. He's one of Australia's finest comedians. So please keep your eye out for next week. Tune in and good luck to you, Lamb.
And to you, Nagy.
We'll speak to you next week only.
Best of luck.
We won't speak again before that time.
Unless we go on a holiday together.
Down to Hobart with our partners. Wink, wink. Oh, sharing rooms. Who would have thought this happened? Just like that beer ad.
Exactly like the beer ad.
A little too much like the beer ad. I should come up with my own concepts. Okay, Jousters. Thank you very much for joining us. Please jump in next week to have another good round of the Joust. Again, with a very, very special guest. We'll see you again, Jousted. Bye. It's empty. I don't know why, too.
Oh, that's still good form.